You know what we're gonna do now?
Pookie?
Pookie stuff. And let's go for a drive. We let the stuff loose. We got her busting carbon. This carbon is so old, we might have to carbon date it. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Orange Wires Garage YouTube channel, and welcome back to the Orange Wires Garage. 5,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. We are truly humbled and blessed. We appreciate every one of you for tuning in. And don't give up on us. We have got huge things planned for this channel, so stay tuned. But as for right now, this is the story of the 1969 Ford F100 that we've been working on for the past 11 months. And we're going to take you back to the very first day we pulled it out of the farmer's field to today, right now, and check the complete transformation out. So buckle up and hold on, and let's get to the video. So this was back 11 months ago to the first day we went and looked at this truck. We saw it on the Facebook Marketplace. It was sitting in the farmer's field. It had the windshield knocked out. The passenger side window was knocked out. It was in all kinds of mess and disarray. But we looked at it and we talked about it, and we bought the thing anyway for $2,400. And that seemed like a good decision at the time. Maybe not a great decision. So we loaded it on the trailer and we hauled it home. And I promise you, we have revisited that decision about 150 times. So we unloaded it in the garage and got it all set up. It had a 1968 Ford 289 with a C4 transmission out of a 70 models Ford Maverick. The engine was missing the carburetor, it was missing the distributor, half the bolts were took out, it was missing the radiator, all the spark plug wires. Our plan for this truck was to just get it running and driving and use it for a knock around shop truck. That was our big plan, that was our big vision, so we just want to get it running here. Come on, baby. Woo! Forgot to put the crystals in.
Oh, hold on. I forgot to put in the crystals.
All right, here we go. Well, listen to that starter. Woo! Man. That sounds good, dude. So for those few short minutes, we thought we were going to achieve our goal, get the truck running and driving and just knock around in the patina that it was in. We were just short-lived, because the next thing you know, we were pulling the engine out and getting ready to completely disassemble it, because the water and the oil just kept mixing together in the oil pan. We couldn't figure out why. We busted out the Harbor Freight Portland pressure washer, washed out the engine bay, prepping everything to get that sucker painted. So nothing suits a rusty truck like some Rust-Oleum rusty metal primer. So we laid some of that down and then followed up with some flat black Rust-Oleum enamel in that engine bay. So it was right about this time that our plans of getting this truck just running and driving were starting to change. We picked up a 5.0 HO 225 horsepower small block V8 out of an 89 Mustang GT. It's a little roller motor, a little 302, and we decided to go ahead and paint that motor and make it start making it look better. And then I looked at Caleb and Caleb looked at me, and we knew that this plan was about to change, and we were going to try to make this truck just a little bit nicer than just running and driving and being all ugly and rusty. We wound up pulling the transmission out of the truck too, and then we pulled the pan, and it had a lot of moisture in there, so we changed the filter, we changed the seals, we put the engine back together, changed all the gaskets and shined it up and painted it up and put it right back in the truck. After we got the engine put in, we put everything back together, and we finally filled it up with some oil. We We filled it up with some transmission fluid, we filled it up with some water, and we're about to hit the starter for the first time on this roller motor. After we got the truck fired up, you can see underneath it's got a mess of transmission fluid and engine oil, so we want to just ease it out of the garage and clean all that mess up. So the plan was to just ease it out and stop the truck and clean everything up because we were pretty happy and pretty excited, and all that excitement turned a complete different way. The truck wouldn't stop, and down the hill I went with no brakes, scaring about 20 years off my life.
Alrighty guys, so after that wild ride down the road with no brakes, we got up under here, we found the hole in the brake line.
We filled the master cylinder up with brake fluid, and we're about to take it down the road the first time in 28 years.
And let's go for a drive.
That was a successful test drive, so we went ahead and took the truck and put it back up and got ready for the next phase of this journey. And our truck, well, she's a rusty truck, so we had to cut out the cab mounts, we had to cut out the floor pans, we got some brand new ones, and we welded those back in. We just couldn't help ourselves, so we bought the whole front clip from a '76 Ford F100. That gave us the disc brakes up front and a power steering gear. And we took those I-beams out and swapped them right out, and now we got power steering and disc brakes. If welding in those floor pans on the rusty floorboard wasn't fun enough, we went ahead and welded in the door bottoms on the bottoms of a rusty door to make those things look brand new. If you ever feel like that your welding skills need honed or polished, go ahead and get you one of these rusty trucks and weld in some of these rear cab corners. We got the driver's side all welded in, and we told you we were going to weld this passenger side in. We welded that thing in off camera and got it looking 100%. We actually did better on that one than we did on the driver's side. Always seems to be the case. Further sharpen our skills, we cut out the rusty metal around the back glass, fabricated in some pieces, and weld those back in, and that will really test your welding skills out. Well, in the last 54 years, this truck has been painted about 7 times, and the last 3 times it was painted with a spray can and a paintbrush or a combination of the two. So we had to remove every bit of the paint from this truck. So we went to Harbor Freight and we got us this nice tool. And after we got all the paint off and we got all the rust ground out and welded all the new pieces on, well, that's when the Bondo work started. We had a good bit of body work to do on this truck, so we just suffered through it. We ground it down, we sanded it down flat, getting ready for some primer. We put the body filler on and we sanded it back off, and that made one whale of a mess. And then we had to fabricate some new pieces for the rear fenders and get those all welded in. And finally, after we got all that done, it was finally time to put some primer on, so we got us some U-Pole high build primer. First time using that stuff, and we sprayed it all over this truck, putting 2 or 3 coats because we know we have to block it down a whole bunch of times. And a whole lot of work is an absolute understatement for this job on this truck. We picked up some POR 15 to treat the frame and encapsulate all the rust, making the frame look really good. And after we got all that primer on, it was time to start blocking it down. And trust me, there was many times of putting primer on and blocking it down and putting it on and blocking it down, but we're getting really close to get ready for some paint. We wanted to trim out the doors and trim out the cab before we went to the booth. We built a booth in the shop out of some painter's plastic. It looks like a plastic wonderland. Finally, after months and months, we got the beautiful green spruce mica paint out, and we're trimming out the inside of the doors and the underside of the hood and inside the cab. The next stop is going to be the booth where we paint this truck. The inside of the cab looked really good. The dash looks good. We put some kill mat sound dampening pads all over the floorboard and all over the back of the cab before we load it on the trailer and head out to the booth. Finally, we're ready to get this thing to the booth and get it painted on the outside and start getting it put back together and make it look like something phenomenal and awesome. And this sure has been a long ways, as far away as you can get from just getting a truck running and driving. Now we want it to have the best, slickest paint job possible. So we sand it down flat again and again and wet sand it and get the smoothest surface possible to have the absolute best paint job we can get. So we sprayed some sealer down with the Iwata Kiwami paint gun. We were having issues with our Cetajet X 5500. Had to order some parts for that. We took our time and we sprayed the spruce mica nice and smooth, and everything laid down absolutely perfect, even using that Iwata Kiwami. It was really looking good. We're really proud of the way everything's turning out. We put down 3 coats of base coat, then we mixed up some clear coat. It's time for 2 coats of that to put it nice and smooth and thick and heavy and make it look absolutely like a mirror and a piece of glass. This paint job turned out wonderful. We love the color, we love the flop, we love the way it looks really dark and low light and how the gold comes out when the sun hits it. We took the truck back home and we started working on the dash bezel and put a brand new set of gas charged Monroe shocks on. After we worked on the outside, it's time to work some on the inside, and we bought 2 separate seat frames to take it all apart, and then we took those 2 seat frames and our original seat frame and we took all of the pieces and we welded up this and we welded up that and we made a seat frame. We cleaned that all up, we sanded it down, and then we spray painted it all flat black, making it look like a brand new seat frame. Then we ordered this as a cover from LMC Truck. We put that cover on the back side of the seat using the existing foam, and we took some hog rings and we fastened it all down, and we did the same thing to the bottom. And I want you to look at this seat. What a transformation, how we took the seat into a perfect brand new looking seat. We got some brand new carpet and we put that carpet in, and then we jumped on the rear glass and we put the rear glass in. We tested out our skills putting in the windshield, and then we built a custom exhaust out of 2.5-inch complete set all the way to the rear of the truck, complete with some glass packs. We got an air conditioning system from Vintage Air. We set that thing apart, got all those pieces. It was completely engineered and put it all inside the truck and on the outside and everywhere in between. We put in an Intellitronics digital dash cluster, and we finally put some gas in this truck and fired it up for the first time in 8 months. It's finally time to take this truck back to the booth and paint the bed and paint the inside of the door panels beautiful Wimbledon white. We took the bed completely apart and we hung everything up in the booth, wiped it all down and got it ready to paint. This time we had our Cetajet X 5500 paint gun. We still went low and slow, put 3 coats of base, and then we mixed up some clear coat. We used the Strip Lamp Pro so we could see our wet edge in the booth, and we laid down 2 slick coats of clear coat with that Cetajet X 5500 paint gun, and we could see ourselves, our perfect reflection, just like a mirror, just like glass. I'll be the first one to admit I'm not the best painter and not the best at putting down the base and the clear coat, but this truck has taught me a lot, and I'm really proud of the job we did on this and how well I laid the paint down. In this shot right here, you can almost see how the truck looks black and low light, and as it hits the light, it flops to a gold. And I'm going to brag on Caleb a little bit here. He did an exceptional job painting those door panels Wimbledon white. And oh man, it felt so good to finally get all that paint work done. Months and months and months of Bondo and primer and paint and sanding. So we went home and we wired up some headlights, some cool headlights, some LED tail lights, getting this truck road ready. So this truck bed needed a nice wood floor. Caleb found some red oak, beautiful boards, great deal in those. So we used a table saw and we used a router to cut the channel for our metal strip. Then we gave everything a nice test fit, put the boards in, put the boards out, cut this, cut that, and then it was time to use some bull linseed oil and some Danish oil, and then we finished all these boards. We put everything together, bolted it all down, and it turned out amazing. One of the best looking things about this whole truck is this beautiful oak bed floor. We pretty much completed all the inside. We got the new seat, new carpet. We painted everything. We got the digital dash cluster going on here, and everything is functioning as it should. We got an Android radio over there. We picked us up a fire extinguisher. That's another story for another day. But inside of this truck, we also put a brand new headliner, brand new sun visors, and we installed the 3-point seat belts, which we picked up from Summit Racing, just to give it just a little bit, you know, modern feel and safety first and all that. Every truck, every vehicle, it has to have a name. We finally picked this truck's name out. I wanted you to see if you could see the resemblance. Fiona! And that brings us to the next stage and the next phase of this journey. Fiona is going to her first car show today. So why don't we get it all backed out of the garage, kind of look it over, head to the car show, and we'll see what other people think. Fingers crossed they love it as much as we do. Let's get to the car show.
Wire.
What are you doing?
It's beautiful.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I gotta get over a little closer look.
First car show.
Yeah, I know. Looks great, man.